help me welcome Truett Taylor.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rome. As Dr. Rome mentioned, I'm going to be talking to you guys about 3 life-changing moments and 3 decisions I had to make. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a little bit vulnerable today. Can you guys look to the person to your right and let's say, we're going to get vulnerable? Okay, so I want you to say it like we say it in Griffin. We going to get vulnerable today. So there's typically 3 life-changing moments that we all have in our lives. They typically revolve around life, death, and relationships. So I'd like to share with you guys my 3 moments. The first moment in my life that was really life-defining for me was I was fresh out of college. I was a couple years into a new career. I'd moved from the small city to the big city of Atlanta. I had a great job. I was doing really well. It was Tuesday in our sales meeting. I had on a blue shirt, sitting there with my friends and my coworkers, and I had just crushed the last quarter. I knew I was getting an award in today's meeting, and I was so excited. I saw a trophy over there with my name on it, and I couldn't wait to stand up there and get that trophy. As I'm talking, and I'm talking trash with all my coworkers, I get a tap on my shoulder. Truett, you have an important phone call. I need you to come take it. So I got up, went back to my office, and on the phone was my mother. And she said, Truett, I don't want you to do anything, but your brother just committed suicide this morning. And that moment completely stopped me in my tracks. I didn't know how to feel. I didn't know what emotion to make. And we were all pretty sensitive at that time in our family's life because just 25 days before that, my father got into a motorcycle accident and was paralyzed from the neck down in the same month. So you can kind of imagine being on edge, getting that news at work. Let's fast forward 2 years. Like most men, I worked really hard. I wanted to work my way through this. I spent long days and nights working. I got promotions. I was making more money than my friends and anyone in my family ever had. I started kickboxing as well too. I was fighting in cages with guys. I was really just taking all this anger and emotion and stuff I had out on myself, my private life, other people. But I wanted to help someone as well too. So I was in a relationship with someone who really needed all of my attention and all of my help. So guess what? We got married. And within 2 years, that marriage was over. So here I had all the guilt and shame from a failed marriage as well. Fast forward 2 more years. I hear 3 words that no one ever wants to hear. You have cancer. At 32 years old, I'd never even had a cavity. And then all of a sudden I had stage 3 colon cancer. That's super rare for someone my age. Usually you're 50 and above the people that typically get colon cancer. So I spent the next 6 months with 2 surgeries, 10 rounds of chemotherapy, and 25 rounds of radiation. It just wrecked my body. Completely wrecked my body, my mind, my soul, everything in my life. And those 6 years have been completely flipped upside down. That is not the life I intended when I moved to Atlanta to do something great for myself. So everything was out of order in my life. And I talk a lot about the trinity of our bodies. It's our mind, our body, and our spirit. And so in my mind, I had all these thoughts of guilt, all these thoughts of sadness, just disappointment. I had to detoxify those things out of my mind. So I made the conscious choice to reprogram the way I thought about myself, my life, and other people. See, our mind's a crazy thing. It goes and takes you places that you don't even want to go. And you start to live that reality of who you think you are. I didn't want to do that anymore. So I started reading things and watching things and really filling my mind with the right, proper things that were going to help me have a different mindset in the future. There was 2 things I could control: what I put in my mouth and what I put in my mind. So I made the choice to put new things in my mind. Now, the second thing was my body. I was always in good shape, but let's be honest, I ate like crap because I worked out so much and I trained and all those things. You kind of can mask that a little bit with a lot of exercise, right? Now, I mentioned that I grew up in Griffin, Georgia, okay? Let me tell you what a Griffin Sunday dinner sounds like. Fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, cornbread, sweet tea to wash it all down. Oh my gosh, can you please take my blood pressure real quick? I've gotten high blood pressure so far. We all got diabetes just talking about that, right? That was transition to me as an adult. Again, I didn't look like I ate like that, but I kind of got away with it. So I had to fix what was going on in my body as well too. So I started making changes with my diet. Sugar is terrible for someone with cancer. Those dinners were great, and I still enjoy them every now and then, but I can't have that in my life all the time like I was. Our bodies have been fearfully and wonderfully made, and I had to realize that and live that out every day. The next thing in the Trinity is our spirit. Often overlooked, easy to pass along, but our spirit is what drives everything that we do. It's our why. So why was my spirit so out of line? I was believing the wrong things. I was putting rules in my life instead of having a relationship with God in my life. I wasn't available. To have a successful relationship, you have to be available. And I wasn't available. So I changed the way I was thinking about things, and I really opened myself up. I stopped doing the things that I wanted to do, and I started doing the things that I was called and led to do. A quick story. At some of my lowest times during my cancer journey, I'm 230 pounds. I was 200 pounds. Still sounds like a lot, probably to most people, but losing 30 pounds in a matter of months, it's a big deal. You look different. So I'd lost all the muscles that I had, and it was just, I'm skin and bones, 200 pounds almost, okay? So I lost all that, and I was looking at myself in the mirror, and I didn't even recognize myself. I had a port attached to my chest. I had to wear that home every 2 weeks, and it beeped all night long for 3 days until it ran out every time I had chemo. And so here I am standing in the mirror, used to seeing somebody who literally fought people for fun, and staring at someone who is pale, skinny, with a big lump on your chest connected to something that's basically poisoning you to help heal you. And I was having a tough time with that. That was not my identity. I was 31. At 31, my identity was completely different than I'd ever imagined. And I got real close to the mirror because sometimes when we're too far away, we can look at the big picture, but if you get really close and you just look into your eyes, you can really see what's going on. And as I was doing that, I put my hands up on the sink. And on the sink, my hand touched something. I had a piece of paper laying on my sink. And on that piece of paper was something my mother had written me. Psalms 118, verse 17. I will not die, but I will live and declare the works of God. I thought I was going to die. I looked like I was going to die. But I wasn't going to die. And I was going to tell everybody what God had done for me. So I had to line my spirit up. All this happened before I was 32 years old. So let's fast forward to today. Almost 7 years later. I quit that job that I had that was causing so much stress in my life. I was spending money on things I didn't need to impress people that I didn't even like. I had to back out of that. Started my own company. Love what I do every day. I started a podcast for cancer warriors and survivors so they could have someone comfort them during their journey, because I didn't have a lot of that. Solving a problem for the cancer community. Got some new jewelry over the past few years as well. And married the most amazing person for me in every way. And in July, I will officially be 7 years cancer-free. And guess what? I'm not dead. I'm alive. And every one of you guys know exactly what God's done for me. I just want to tell you guys how thankful I am to be able to share my story with you. I love sharing my story, and I love sharing other people's stories as well. It's a huge passion that I have. In front of each one of you is a card for the podcast that I run. If you want to listen to some great, inspiring stories from cancer warriors, survivors, and even caregivers as well, you can check out our podcast. I'll be in the back of the room today. I would love to hear your story, whether it's cancer related or not, and we can connect through email, and I'd love to send you out a free gift that I have. I cannot express how grateful I am to have all of you guys in my life. We've all had this moment together, and I promise today when you leave, you won't forget our 3 moments. Thank you.